Peace. Wait a little bit. Give it a little bit till the Moors jump in. Peace. Peace. So I'm doing this video because a lot of Asiatic women have been asking me to do it. Um, I was actually surprised because I was expecting men to do it, but a few women have asked me to go over, how to clean a firearm, what type of gear to get, and things like that. Um, so I'm doing this video for the ladies, since y'all been asking, and we've had several conversations. A lot of the Moors and I out here. Don't mind that big ass pimple on my face. All of the Moors out here, we always say it's interesting how most of the women are ready to ride and do what the men are supposed to be doing. You know. Anyway, that's true. So I'm gonna go over a few things. Um, I'm gonna go over rifles. I'm gonna go over magazines. I'm gonna go over pistols, how to clean them. I'm gonna go over gear, and that's basically it. So for most of the time, if you get a firearm, you get a cleaning kit. You don't really need much. A toothbrush, an old toothbrush. This is a bore cleaner, which is just to clean the barrel, and of course they have adapters for rifles, which I have it. It's just in the bag. They also have similar ones for shotguns. I do have a shotgun, but I'm not gonna go over how to break it apart and clean it in this video because I need both hands. I actually need both hands for most of these firearms, but a shotgun is a little more intricate, so I'm not gonna do that this video. But I'm gonna go over the basics, which is a pistol and a rifle. You also need, it's called CLP. Hold on. I don't have a bipod, so you're gonna have to deal with it. This right here. This is the oil that you use, or the lubricant that you use for your firearms. And obviously it's pretty cheap. It lasts a long time, but I cut mine like an idiot and then end up spilling in my bag. And I use a sock. You can use baby wipes, you can use napkins, it doesn't matter. And for like the small intricate parts, I use Q-tips. This is something that we use in the military, use Q-tips, and sometimes we even use spit and things like that. But this is an actual proper way to do it. But of course the Marines will teach you the bootleg way to do everything. So we're gonna go over how to break this down real fast. It's pretty simple. Always make sure it's safe. So hold on, I'm gonna try to lean this against something. Let me see. One moment. Bear with me. Bear with me. Don't mind my hair. All right. I'm sitting on the floor too. All right. So whenever you break down a pistol to clean it, you always make sure it's safe. To make sure it's safe, you pull the slide back and then you push the slide lock up. The slide lock is right here. It's on both sides. Actually, no, so it's just on this side. It's not an ambidextrous pistol. So you want to use your palm, the meaty side of your palm, on this ridge right here. Pull it back with your non-dominant hand and push it forward with your dominant hand, so it's easier instead of you just doing it with one hand, right? Then you use your thumb to slide it back, right? Make sure it's clear. Do a visual check. Some people will suggest you do a physical inspection, so you do that. I don't recommend doing that because if you put your finger in here and then the slide goes forward, your finger's done. So I wouldn't suggest doing that. Just use your eyes. Obviously, if there was something in it, if there was a bullet in it, it looks something like that. You'd see brass in there. So obviously, if you don't see that, it's empty. And then obviously you can see the light through there where the magazine would be, so the magazine's not in it. If you're around people, you can verbally say clear, or obviously if you're just by yourself, you mentally say clear, or you just realize that it's clear. Also, one thing they teach us in the military is that if you're ever going to hand your firearm to anyone, you always clear it first. You say clear, and then you hand it to the person with the slide lock. You hand it to them. They do their visual inspection, and then they send the slide forward. So again, when you clean it, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Always make sure it's clear, always, at all times. Keep your finger always straightened off the trigger. That's one of the, they call it weapon safety rules. Keep your finger straightened off the trigger until you are ready to fire. Keep your weapon unsafe until you intend to fire. Never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot, and know your target and what lies beyond it. Obviously, a Glock does not have a safety. They call this little trigger mechanism a safety, but it's really not. It's just if you don't put your finger all the way on it, the trigger won't pull. But if you put your, I don't know if you can see it, that thing that's protruding, that little switch right there, you have to press it all the way down, and then you hear it click. If you don't press it all the way down, it doesn't click. So that's a semi-safety. I don't consider that a safety at all. Of course, you can use your, they call it weapons conditions. I know it's not a weapon, it's a firearm. They call it weapons conditions. So this would be a condition 4 weapon, which means there's no magazine inserted. Obviously, the magazine's right here. It's not inside of it. There's no round in the chamber. There's no hammer, so condition 2 doesn't apply. But there's also no safety, so it's like semi-condition 4, right? This would be condition 3, just like this. Boom. Magazine inserted, slide forward. Let's just imagine it has a safety, it will be unsafe. Then condition 1, let's just pretend because I have loaded mags. Condition 1 would be magazine inserted, round in the chamber, which obviously it didn't go in, but we're just pretending right now. Round in the chamber would be condition 1, right? So if you're in a combat zone, you're condition 1. If you're, on base or whatever, you're condition 4. Or sometimes if you're at home, you'll just be condition 3 until, oh, I hear someone at the door. Then you go condition 1, right? So again, when you're cleaning it, always be sure that you check it to make sure it's clear, everything's fine, right? To open this or to break it apart, to clean it, there's these 2 slide locks right here. They're on both sides, right? So what you have to do is pull the trigger, right? Wrap your hand around it like this. Slide it back a little bit so you see that the barrel's pointed out a little bit. If you go too far back, the trigger will reset and you won't be able to do it. So pull it back that much. Use your thumb and index finger to pull those slides down, literally, and then it slides right off. It's that simple. Literally, it's easy. To take the barrel out, it's just a little spring mechanism. You just push it forward and it literally comes off. Then you literally just take the barrel out, just like that. I dip a little bit of CLP on the toothbrush and then I just clean it like that. Real simple. For like intricate places, I'll dip CLP on my pinky and then I'll really groove it in there to make sure everything operates smoothly and fine. Of course, you want to lubricate your barrel. Use your bore brush to, get all the carbon out of it. You should also, brush these pieces in here. Real simple. And if you use Q-tips, you'll be able to see how clean it is because obviously a Q-tip's white. And you see that dirt on there. Obviously, it's never going to be 100% clean because this is an active firearm. I've used it before. I practice with it, things like that. So it's never going to be, you're never going to wipe your Q-tip across it and it's going to look like this. Of course, in the military, they want it to look like that, but it's never going to look like that. Even when you get it from, a gun store and they clean it, it's never going to be perfect because there's always just carbon. That's basically how you break down a pistol. And then to put it back together, you just do everything you did in reverse. So you put the barrel back in, right? You put the spring back on, right? Then there's rails here. So I've seen Moors mess it up, but you really can't mess it up. There's grooves here, right? You just line the grooves up. This is why it's important to give your children puzzles and stuff like that. You just literally slide it in. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but you literally just slide it in. It's kind of hard to do upside down. I normally do it regular, like a regular human being. But you slide it in, right, all the way back. Well, obviously I just slipped it out. Slide it all the way back, and then that's it. And then every time you clean your weapon or your firearm, you always want to do something called a function check. All right, so a function check is you rack it back to make sure it racks back. Then you pull the trigger, make sure it clicks. Rack it back again, make sure it clicks again. And then, of course, if it has a safety, then you would put the safety on, pull the trigger, and it should not fire. If the trigger falls when the safety is on, then you obviously didn't put the pieces back together correctly. So again, when you want to clean it, always make sure the chamber is empty, which is very simple. You just pull it back, push forward, use your thumb to push that slide lock up, inspect it. Obviously, you see no bullets, it's clear. Then you pull the trigger. Once you know it's clear, pull it back a little bit, pull the slide locks down, slips right off. It's that simple. And of course, to put it back together, there's these rails that you can't miss because they're on the firearm. That's basically it for this. Now, a rifle is also super simple. You have your upper receiver and your lower receiver. Your upper receiver is where your bolt is. Your lower receiver is where your trigger mechanism is and where your magazine well is. So that's kind of how it's divided, you know. There's 2 pins right here, one right here, and one right here. You just push them in, right? Sometimes it's a little harder than others. Push them in, right? Then on this side, you pull it out all the way. I'm live right now. Pull it out all the way, and then your upper receiver separates from your lower receiver, and then you can start cleaning it. They teach us in the military to always clean your bolt last, because if you're ever in a combat situation and you just need to do a quick touch up, you don't want to have your bolt in pieces and then your enemy comes and then you're like, oh crap, I got springs everywhere and little tiny pieces everywhere. This is the buttstock. This is the buttstock buffer and spring, which to pull that out, which I rarely clean because even when I was in the military and we shot 100 rounds a day, I've rarely seen this thing dirty. But you just press it back a little bit, press that little button, and then it comes out. And just be careful because it's a spring. All right, comes out just like that, just these 2 pieces, and that's basically it. And you can clean it if you want. Like I said, I've been in the Marines. Unless you're in like the desert or the jungle and you're in dirt, this thing rarely gets dirty. And then to put it back in, you just literally push it back in. This obviously right here is the trigger mechanism, which this is where you would use your Q-tips. Sorry about the poor lighting, but this is where you would use the Q-tips to kind of clean, right? So you basically will hit it with your brush, whatever fits, you know, get the most of it out. And then for the more intricate parts, you use your Q-tip and obviously hit all the springs with CLP on it, wipe it all down, get as much carbon out as you can. Obviously this one's not that dirty. But always when you're done wiping it down, always put a good layer of lube on it to make sure that it functions properly and it doesn't rust. So what I just did was when the trigger is reset, it's down. In order for me to clean in here, I have to move this. I have to move the hammer, right? So you put it on fire, you hold your thumb on it, and then you just pull the trigger and let go. If you don't hold it with your thumb, it does that violently, which, you know, obviously you don't want to break your firearm because you need it. And then just to put it back, you literally just, nothing but your thumb, you just put it down and that's it. Magazine well, just hit it with the brush because this rarely gets dirty too, right? Hit it with the brush, that's it. And that's basically it on how to clean the lower receiver on a rifle. It's pretty simple. When you get to the upper receiver, it starts to get a little more complicated because you have the bolt carrier group and the firing pin and things like that. To take that apart, you just pull the charging handle back and the bolt, literally, you just seen it slides right out. You take both of them out. And like I said, you want to clean this last because of all those tiny pieces, which I'll show you in a little bit. Actually, I might not show you because I'll show you. Just so you can see how complicated it is. But obviously you can tell it's not perfectly clean, but it's clean enough because obviously when I touch it, there's oil on it and a little bit of carbon comes off, but that's fine. You just don't want like gloops of blackness on your fingers because obviously your weapon's not clean. This little thing right here is how you know that your weapon is gas operated. So whenever you pull the trigger, I'm not sure if you can see that little thing right there. And sorry if I've been messing up with the cameras because I'm kind of using my eyes. I keep forgetting that you can't see what I see. But if you ever get a rifle, then you'll see what I'm saying. This is the forward assist, which I'm not going to go into that right now. But when you pull the trigger and the gunpowder goes off, some of that energy will go into here, all the way up and then push the bolt back. That's how the weapon cycles. This obviously is where the bullet goes, which you kind of put your pinky in there to see if there's any carbon in there. And of course, obviously, this is also easy to clean. You just brush it. Get your Q-tips. Get in this little piece right here. I know you can't really see it, but if you get a rifle, and those of you who have a rifle know what I'm talking about. Those of you who've been in the Marines, you know what I'm talking about, because every time you go to the armory and you try to put your rifle back after you cleaned it, they stick their big ass pinky in there, and then they pull out mad carbon, and you're like, how did you even do that? I can't even fit my pinky in there. And you end up cleaning your rifle all day. This particular rifle is a Ruger 5.56. This is the same optic that we use in the Marines. This is a Trigicon 4x magnification scope. You sight it in, or you BZO it, which means battle sight 0. You BZO it at the 36-yard line. And I put tape on the fiber optic because that's how the reticle gets illuminated. And if it's too illuminated, the reticle is going to seem larger than what it is, and you're going to miss your target. So you always want to BZO your firearms when you get them, especially if you have iron sights and then you attach a some type of optical lens or other red dot or anything on it. You always want to BZO your optics to make sure that when you're aiming down range, whatever you're looking at, whatever you put red on is dead, or whatever you put your iron sights on is dead. Because you don't want to just put a random reticle on your firearm and then start shooting and you don't know where your bullets are going, which violates, obviously the fourth rule of quote unquote weapon safety is know your target and what lies beyond it. If you're looking at your target and your bullets are going somewhere else, you don't know what you're doing. If you go to the Trigicon website, this is around $2,000. If you go to Amazon, it's $109. So go to Amazon. It's easy to install. You literally just screw it into your Picatinny rail system. If you don't have a Picatinny rail system, then you can't screw it on. You can also get rifles with a Picatinny rail system up here. I obviously don't. It's a regular handguard. And then I have flip iron sights on the back. So if this goes down, like if it gets shot or if I drop it like an idiot, I just unscrew it, flip the iron sights up, then I can continue to engage. And that's basically it. You could also clean the handguards, which you just unscrew this and take it off, but it's a bitch to do that and put it back together, so I'm not going to do it. Like I said, I've been in the Marines. I rarely seen underhair get dirty unless you're in the desert or in the jungle or somewhere where there's dirt. If you're in an urban environment, there's a high, and things aren't blowing up in your face, then this, if you're just on the range shooting regular stuff like a regular civilian, this will rarely get dirty. Like I said, I was in the Marines and it rarely gets dirty, even when we're in the field. You could also get a honeycomb. Never mind, I won't get into that. But this is just a basic setup, basic setup. For the charging rail, which is this bad boy, you just put oil on your toothbrush and then you brush it down. That's it. Simple. Make sure it's lube. Make sure it's shiny. You don't want it to be dripping oil, but you also don't want it to be dry. Now this is the bolt carrier group, right? So to take this apart, you have to take the firing pin out first. The firing pin is seated right here. That's the firing pin. This is where the hammer strikes. The hammer strikes this. The firing pin hits the back of the round, and then the round, obviously explodes, and then the bullet comes out. So you take this little pin out right there. This is a bitch to pull out and put back in. That's why I didn't want to do it. But for the Moorish women who want to know, I'm doing it for you. Pull that out right there, just like that. And make sure you put it in either on an elevated position or on a white surface, because these pieces are small. And if you lose them, if you lose this piece right here, your entire firearm is not going to work. This tiny piece right here, lose it, don't work. So I'm putting it on this elevated position, and there's nothing else on there except for the bolt pieces. Then you slide the firing pin out, just like that. And that is your firing pin. If you lose this, your rifle's not going to work. This is the part that strikes the back of the round. All right, this is the part where your hammer hits, pushes it forward to strike the round. I'm putting that in the same place. Then you have to take, I'm not sure what this little piece right here is called. I'm not sure what that is called, but you take it out. And again, it's kind of hard to do when it's oiled. Take that piece out, put it there. Take this piece out, which this has even smaller pieces, right? Like There's a little pin right here. There's a pin. I know you cannot see that. There's a pin right here. But if you slide it out, this little top piece comes off, and you can clean that too, which I'm not going to do. Because it's a bitch to put it back. And that's basically it, besides using tools to take the rest of this thing apart. Then you clean it. Obviously, use your Q-tips in here, use your Q-tips in here, use your Q-tips in here, brush everything down. This has a lot of carbon buildup if you're shooting a lot of rounds through it. And that's literally basically it. And like I said, clean this last in a combat environment. Clean this last. Because you see how, I had to take 5 parts. These are 5 parts that I just showed you I had to pull apart. So, and obviously they're small. If you're in a hurry, you can't put all these parts back fast enough, right? Then you just put it back together and that's it. Put it back together. Don't even mind the music that's playing in the background right now. It's so vulgar, and I apologize. But Noble Drawley said, "Be yourself," and I like local artists, and I'm never gonna not be myself. Just because I listen to trap music doesn't mean I think I'm that guy, because I'm definitely not. But it is funny because I be thinking about all the dirty Moors that be saying stuff about me. Just get out your feelings. This is why I say clean it last, because it's very difficult to put back if you're in a combat situation. And it's very hard to do with poor light. There we go. So there's a hole on this part where the firing pin goes through, so it has to be orientated the correct way. Then you just put the firing pin back, which it should go straight into the hole if you did it right. Then you put the firing pin back in, so that way the firing pin doesn't slip out. And this is where it gets hard, because this part right here is a little open. See how it's kind of wide? It's not supposed to be in a Y shape like that. That's why it's kind of hard to put back. It's supposed to just slip right in. But again, this is why you do this part last. Which sometimes I need a little thing to push it in. Which is, again, why you do this part last. This is actually one of the only firing pins that I've had to deal with like this ever. But this is what I got. So I'm just trying to put it back into the hole, and like I said, since it's bowed like that, it's a little hard to do. Let me see if I can find something. Normally I use like a what is it? What are those pins called that you put onto cork boards? I use one of those things to kind of slide it in. And of course, it's hard to do with poor lighting. So watch me struggle for a little bit longer. There we go, I think. Nope. Can you give me one of those safety pins?
Where are they at?
Normally they're all over the house.
You mean like a push pin?
Yeah.
Anything like that would work?
Yeah. It's just hard to do this. Oh yeah, and if those of you who care, never mind, I got it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what about my?
No, I got it. Thank you. Those of you who care at all, I'm listening to a local artist right now. His name is J Deuce. I think it's lit. And one of the things we always did in the military, which I never fully understood why, was we just kind of went like that and slipped it back in, I guess to see if it worked and to see if it was well lubed. I really can't tell you why. It's just some of the things. It's just a thing that we did in the military, Then to put it back, you put the charging handle in. There's a groove right here, 2 grooves on the side, and there's a groove that you can see it slides into. So you put this in, it slides in. See how it kind of fell in? I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll try to do it again. But it fell in right there. Then you put the bolt in, right? And then you push them both in together. Then you put the upper receiver back on top of the lower receiver. and you put those same pins back in. And again, this is kind of hard to do because of the camera angle and stuff like that. And then of course, you want to do your function check. So to function check, you just, you know, rack it back to see if it works, and obviously it does. Then you pull the trigger. If it's on safe, the trigger should not fall if the weapon's on safe. Then you put it on fire, the trigger should fall. Then you pull it back, trigger should reset. Then you put it back on safe, you do it again. And what I failed to do, which I already knew it was safe, but what I failed to do was to show you that the chamber was empty, which all my magazines were out, so I knew it was empty, but I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So all you do is, there's the bolt lock right here, right? Which you just press this button down. Press it down once you pull the bolt back. So to pull the bolt back, you pull the charging handle. There's a little lever right here. They have some ambidextrous ones. But you pull it back, then you push this charging lock, and then the bolt is open. I know it's hard to see because of the light, but the bolt is open, which just means the actually bolt carrier group is locked to the rear, or to the rear end or back end of the firearm, and you can see inside this area right here through the magazine well. And then of course you just do your visual check. Again, don't put your fingers in here, and if you are going to put your fingers in, you go through the magazine well, not through here, not through the ejection port, because then you're just an idiot. Obviously you see that it's empty, then you push this forward, the bolt goes home, and that is basically it. That's literally basic. That's how simple all of this is. And the same conditions and safety rules apply to this as well. Obviously, no magazine inserted would be condition 4. So this is a condition 4 rifle because there's no magazine in the magazine well. Right? If you put a magazine in, which I have bullets, so I'm not going to go condition 1. If you put a magazine in, that is condition 3. And you always want to smack the magazine to make sure it's fully seated and make sure it's not going to fall out. Because if you put a magazine in, right, and you're in a combat situation, you just do this, right? And then obviously when you're shooting, it's going to be parallel, so you don't pull it in all the way, and then you're fucked. Excuse my expression. But in the military, we're very vulgar because that's what sticks with people the most, right? So make sure you slap that bad boy in there. Don't be afraid; it's not going to break. This is a condition 3 weapon. And I'm only saying weapon because of my military training. Obviously, this is not a weapon. This is a firearm. There's no condition 2 because this does not have a hammer. This is not a revolver, so it doesn't have a condition 2. Condition 1 would be if I pull the charging handle back, put a round in the chamber. That is condition 1, which I'm not going to do. So same weapons conditions apply. Same weapon safety rules apply. Keep your weapon, keep your finger straightened off the trigger. So you should see space here. No, none of this bullshit. Because if you get scared, oh, now you pull the trigger, shoot your friend in the back. So always keep your finger off the trigger like that. So you should always see space between the trigger and your finger. None of this crap. This, not this. This, not this. This, not this. Because again, if you get scared, oh my God, I'm scared. I shoot my friend in the back. Now I'm fucked, right? Never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. Keep your weapon on safe until you are ready to fire. Keep your finger straightened off the trigger until you intend to fire. Know your target will lies beyond it. And that's it for the firearms portion. Now, to the gear. I'm not going to tell you where I got the gear from because I'm not sponsored, right? But I'm going to tell you what it is. This is a Kevlar helmet. This is ballistic proof, not bulletproof, ballistic proof. But it has the potential to stop a bullet from entering your brain. So, and it has I have some goggles that I had from the Marines, and it has this thing which is for night sights. I think this was 85 notes. I got it from like a pawn shop type thing. This one, not this one, but the other one that I have was actually a Marine Corps helmet. This is a SAPI plate carrier. The things that are inside of it are the SAPI plates. This little side piece is a cummerbund and a side SAPI plate, which some plate carriers don't come with the cummerbund. Sometimes you have to get it separately. Normally they just have this little clip that goes on your waist, but I wanted this and the side sappies. You can get this from anywhere from $99 to $200, just the plate carrier itself. Once you start getting into the actual armor, that's when prices start to go up. So I'm going to show you what the plate looks like real fast. I don't want to show you the manufacturer of the plate because, again, I'm not sponsored and I'm not about to do no free promotion. So let me just take it out. It's hard to do, which it should be hard to do because this thing is supposed to be in there to protect your organs, so it should be hard to remove. If it's easy to remove, I would say you have a goddamn problem, right? So we're gonna go with first, I'm gonna show you this right here. This is a trauma pad. This goes between your body and the armor plate. So the armor plate would be towards the exterior side of your body. So the bullet would hit the armor plate first. It would absorb most of the impact, and then this would absorb a lot more of the impact before your organs feel it. Because when you get shot, you're gonna feel it. So this is a trauma pad. This is not bulletproof. It's just helped to reduce the trauma that you're gonna feel when a bullet is coming at you. This right here, I'm gonna hide the manufacturer. I'm not sure if I just hit that well or not. But anyway, this is the actual plate carrier, right? So this side's towards your body. And it tells you what type of rounds it stops, right? And then this material right here makes it so that if a bullet hits it and it fragments, it doesn't fragment into your face. It's called spalding, if I'm not mistaken. So that's basically what it is. You have the plate carrier, the trauma pad, the actual body armor, and then the rest of the plate carrier. So that's how it's layered on the inside of your body. So the trauma pad will be closest to your body. Obviously, well, technically, this part right here will be closest to your body. Then the trauma pad, then the plate, and then obviously all of this where your gear would go. So I'm going to put that back real quick. Just so you know. And you can get this from different locations. I did research on the company I got it from. Actually seen videos of them testing their stuff. I've seen videos of other, third parties testing their stuff and seeing that it does what it says it does. And it does it well. So that's why I got this one. Then I also put a, this is one of the things that we also did in the military. I put a D-ring on my plate carrier. That way, if I take my helmet off, I can just clip it on the D-ring and I don't have to hold it or put it down. It just kind of hangs from my gear. I also got, well, I also have, my grammar is not on point right now. Sorry. This is a very informal video. Try to put this on. Excuse me again. I need 2 hands for this stuff. That's my security system that you're seeing over there. Don't worry about that. So I can see you coming, all you dirty Moors. I got a regular radio. I got this on Amazon. It has a few channels, and it has a headset. So if I ever need to, if I'm ever in a fire team of, a few Moors or whatever it is, we can communicate effectively. Was I a corporal? Yeah, I was a corporal, and then I got promoted to sergeant when I got out. So when you get out the Marines, there's something called what the hell is it called? It's been a long time. I got out 2014. But you basically have the last 30 days off. You're technically still a Marine, but you're transitioning into your civilian phase. So while I was transitioning, I got my warrant as a sergeant, and I have all that stuff at somewhere else. This is where your magazines go. These little flaps right here normally cover the magazines, but when I was in the Marines, we always tuck them in. That way it's easier to get access to your magazines whenever you want to reload. All right, so your magazines just go in there like this. And there's a reason why I'm putting them in the way I'm putting them in. It's because when you grab them with your left hand, which is kind of hard to display on video, but when you grab them with your left hand, the way they come out is that the rounds will already be ready to go into your rifle and facing the way that they need to be faced. So that's why they're in that way, which it's kind of hard to show you why with one hand when I have to hold the camera. So it may not make sense. It may not make sense. Excuse me. Then you just put, your magazines in your magazine pouches, which these magazines were since I have 3 different kind of magazines right here. They range from 10 to 15 notes. These gray ones were 10 notes. I think this one right here was 15. I think this one was like 11 or something like that. And literally that's it. Literally that's it. Literally, that is literally it. And this is standard, really. If you look at any military or any police force or any tactical unit or even commercial mercenaries, they run similar gear. You might see IFAKs and tourniquets and things like that on their gear, which I don't have right now. But we do have some IFAK equipment, just not the actual IFAK. IFAK means individual first aid kit. So we have first aid kit stuff, just not stuff that attaches to our gear yet. Because a lot of this stuff as a civilian is expensive. When you're in the military, it's issued, so you don't gotta worry about it. But yeah, so all I did was do my research on what I wanted. Did my research on what I was familiar with, because I was in the Marines, so we got standard issue certain things. That's why I got that Trigicon sight, because I was trained with that sight, so it only makes sense. Then I just got this regular radio off Amazon. I wired it to my gear, so it's always there. I don't have to put it on, and I can't forget it because it's attached to me. And that's basically it. So let me see if I can hit up some of these questions. And again, this video is titled "For the Women" because mostly women have been asking me about this stuff and not men. So I'm doing it for y'all. Let me see if I can see the chat. There we go. Peace, 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 peace. What's your peace? Peace, 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 peace. Thank you. I need this video. You're welcome. Peace. Condition 4. Peace, peace. That is, I think I have a Glock 22. I think my wife has a 27. My Glock's chambered in 40 rounds. I normally load it up regular 40, hollow point, regular hollow point, regular hollow point, just so, I can give you the rainbow if you ever try to break into my house. Yes, this is for our sisters, yes, because I would say out of all the people that asked me to do some type of firearm gear video, 100% of them have been women. No men have ever asked me to do this. That's why I said earlier, a lot of the women are more about it than the men in this movement. Let me see. Yeah, obviously the video's for everyone, but my point is, men, y'all gotta step up. Because why the ladies asking me this and not y'all, and some of y'all don't know how to do it too. So, let me see. Peace. It is good to know these things, and of course, you don't have to ever do anything with this information. You can just have it and teach someone else, or just have your gear at your house, and that's it. I'm not telling you to go out and wear it, and I'm not telling you to do anything. It's just information purposes only. Let me see. Exactly. And someone said that they haven't shot a gun, but it's good to know how to clean it for whenever you're ready. And the reason why I say exactly is because a lot of our people have fear when it comes to firearms, and that fear is from the not knowing. Once you see and experience how easy it is to deal with them, all you have to do is not be an idiot, then it's no longer scary. Yeah, you hear about people getting shot, but if you actually do the research, it's people shooting themselves with their own gun because they don't, they either forget the first safety rule, which is keep your finger straight off the trigger. Obviously another safety rule is treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Which when you're in the Marines and then you get out, the safety rules like vary a little bit. You know, the first weapon safety rule in the Marines is treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Then is keep your finger straight off the trigger. But in civilian world, it's keep your finger straight off the trigger, and then there is no treat every weapon as if it were loaded. So you know, but once you have the foundation, all the other rules are also the fundamental principles. Every single firearm rule is a fundamental principle. None of them are discretionary. None of them are optional. They're all necessary because, like I said, a lot of people shoot themselves with their own gun because they're not because it's the gun's fault, not because guns are scary, it's because they're not following the fundamental rules of firearm safety. Which again, once you know those rules and you feel more safe, all that fear shit goes out the window. Because it's not gonna. I've slept with my firearms next to my bed for a long time, and nothing has happened. I've slept with my rifles in the Marines in the field, days on end, and nothing happens, because they don't do anything on their own, so they can't be scary, right? It's all up to you. Uh, what else? What other questions? Great to know. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate the information. Just want the people to learn how to defend themselves. Exactly. Just defend yourself. If what if someone wants your PlayStation or your Xbox, or they see your wife walk in with a gold chain and they want it, and they got a gun? Are you gonna stop them with a spoon? No. What if someone comes in and they want to rape your 12-year-old daughter? Are you gonna stop them with a fork? Possibly. What if they have a shotgun? What if some terrorists without a warrant come to your house? How are you gonna stop them? With a butter knife? Doubt it. What else? Exactly. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And if you really want peace, you would make it so someone who's trying to be unpeaceful with you will think 7 times before they try to be unpeaceful with you. You know, part of the reason why in martial arts people display them belts, you know, their belt class, is so you think twice before you do something to them. And all the martial arts disciplines, it's never to be the aggressor, it's always to defend yourself from someone trying to be aggressive with you. It's literally the same thing with firearms, whether it be a shotgun, a rifle, a pistol, a rocket launcher, and you know, your plate carrier. It's all for self-defense, not aggression. It has nothing to do with aggression, you know. So it's the same principle as martial arts. Peace. You know, you're not gonna walk up to a known martial artist and you don't know any type of martial arts and try to fight that person. You're gonna think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20 times before you try to fight that person. So now think about this. If there's an occupying force on your land and they see that you have rifles and guns and savvy plates and you're well trained, they're going to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20 times before they try to kick you out of your house or take your children or pull you over unconstitutionally. They're going to think before they act now. That is how you ensure peace. And what did Noble Drew Ali say? The Europeans are not going to stop till they look death in the face. Why do you think most of our people don't run up on the cops and do anything to them? Because the cops are organized. Because the cops openly display that they carry. And because the police openly display that they have something that can potentially stop bullets. So now you're like, okay, well, I don't want to go up against that force. Which is logical. So if we feel oppressed, if we feel we don't want to be messed with anymore, we should make it so others don't want the same thing. You get what I'm saying? The same thought process we have when it comes to the police and how we don't want to mess with them. Other nations, other people, other groups should have the same thing when they look at our nation. We don't even want to mess with them. Let's keep them peaceful. You know? All right, hold on. I guess there's more comments. Sorry. How many notes for an average handgun? It depends. If it's you, it depends. It all depends. If you're buying it from the owner, if you're buying it from a pawn shop, if you get it from an auction, if you get it off the streets, it all depends. It really all depends. I've seen, one of those small snub nose revolvers for 400 notes. I got my Glock used for around the same price, but it's because it's used, you know. So it literally all depends. Uh, I hope the women now understand. I hope they do too. Could you leave a link for the tactical vest and helmet? Uh, Again, it's just called a Sappy plate carrier. I don't want to leave the link because I'm not sponsored, and I don't want, because I know certain individuals are watching this video, so I don't want to say the website. Then they're now looking for traffic on that website, and then now they can pinpoint Moors and pinpoint who has it and who doesn't. So I'd rather keep it random, let you just look up Sappy plate carrier, level 3 plus armor, level 4 armor, level 3A armor, Sappy plate carriers, tactical vest, Trichicon scope, red dot scopes, ballistic helmets. Just look those words up, and then you find the best price that fits your budget, because you can get so many things, so many different attachments to any of your gear, whatever you feel comfortable with. Thank you. You can get most of the stuff I just showed you online. Oh, my bird is flying over here. Eagle go my anchor flag on my house? Nah, I'm straight. I'm only wearing the shirt because I got it for free. Actually, I didn't. Not this one. When I was in Cobras Coast, we had to pay for it. But why buy a shirt if I already have one? Would you recommend a used firearm, and what things to be knowledgeable about when purchasing? Like I said, my Glock is used. I'm pretty sure my rifle is used too. A firearm's gonna do what it does. It doesn't really matter if it's new or if it's used. It's kind of personal preference. If you want it new, then get it new. If you have the fiat for it, then spend it. But if you just need a gun, then get one. Things to look out for. Obviously, if you're gonna get it over the counter and it's used, just do that function check. You can visually inspect it. Obviously, they're not gonna let you shoot it. Some places won't. But always do that function check. Make sure, obviously, there's no like crazy rust or marks on it, from it being dropped or whatever. Make sure when you buy it from them, they clean it, or they already did clean it. Um, that's basic. A firearm is very simple. It's not complicated, so I can't even really think of any tips to give you because, it, it is what it is. Uh, what's the best weapon for a sister? Um, Most women would think a small pistol. The problem with that is when the pistol is smaller, you feel more of the recoil because it's a smaller uh, operating system. So don't think smaller is better. Hold on, the bird just landed in my face. Sorry, we have a new special guest. Um, so don't think smaller is better. Um, huh? I'm live on YouTube. Mm, I would say a shotgun. I feel like a shotgun is the best weapon or firearm for women because that's when you're really gonna feel the recoil. And once you get used to that, everything else is nothing. you know. I think the first time Juju shot my rifle, she was so afraid at first. Then when she pulled the trigger, she's like, "Oh, this is easy," and she actually loved it. So, but once you give her, when I gave her the shotgun, she felt like, "Oh, okay, I need to be really ready for this one."
No, I remember I didn't want to shoot it because I was scared.
Oh yeah, she didn't want to shoot it. Yeah. So give the women the shotgun so that way they get rid of that fear, and then they can actually feel the power, and then they can build that confidence in themselves. Like, okay, I can do this.
I
Yeah.
think the confidence too comes from after you've had like weapon safety training. Because at first I was just afraid
Yeah, I actually said that earlier.
in general.
Yeah.
But then once I knew what to do and how to handle it, there's literally no fear.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you heard that, but she said she was afraid at first, but then once she got the safety course and the handling, all her fear went out the window because now she knew how to deal with it. So, um, yeah, that's basically what this video is about. So yeah, again for the sisters, shotgun. That should be your first firearm. Can you stop trying to eat my nails, please? Let them try out the 9mm. Actually, the pistol I got for her, there's 3 different barrels. She can shoot a 40 like mine. She can shoot a 9, and she can shoot 357. Why are you biting me? Go away. Go away. No biting. How about ammo online? I actually get all my ammo from a gun store or gun stores. Why are you back?
To terrorize.
Don't bite me. I'm live right now. Sometimes he's mean. He just wants me to pet him, but I'm busy right now. What about women who aren't sure about going to a gun range? I've heard some ranges can be sketchy / scammers or prejudiced. This is why I've been asking Morris to come out here because we have access to some private land where we will be your range coach. And we will make you feel comfortable because you are part of our nation and you are important to us. It's not about fiat, it's about our nation. I can't pet you right now. Can you wait? He's such a tiny animal, but his personality is huge and he demands so much attention. Wait. But if you know any family members with, private land, they can't say nothing if you're on your private property shooting and you got acres of land. Like I said, I get my ammo from the store, gun store. All right, seems like there's no more questions. Thank you for tuning in. This is Sinbad Bay, if you don't know, aka El Chomp, aka Mr. Bites a Lot, aka Sir Bites a Lot, aka Bitey, aka I'm gonna bite you, aka. Can you relax? Thank you for tuning in. Hope you learned something. All right, I'm gonna pet you. Look how hard he's biting me right now. He wants so much attention. I'm gonna pet you. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.